The curse of being Spider-Man. Every Spider-Man loses someone. Let's be honest for a second. Being Spider-Man kind of sucks. Sure, you got super strength, you can swing through New York City, climb walls, and you probably never have to pay for public transport again, but look a little closer. Has any Spider-Man actually gotten a happy ending? Seriously, every single version of Peter ends up losing someone. It starts with Uncle Ben. Without his death, Peter probably never becomes the Spider-Man we know. It's the moment that changes everything. Then there's Gwen Stacy, then Aunt May. In the MCU, he loses Tony Stark too. And depending on the universe, Harry Osborn usually ends up dead or become another tragedy waiting to happen. It doesn't even matter which version of Spider-Man you're watching, sooner or later he loses someone. One death is tragic, two is coincidence, but every Spider-Man, that's a pattern. Maybe the curse was never the spider bite. Maybe it was becoming Spider-Man. Spider-Man never truly wins. Here's something I noticed. Spider-Man might be the only hero who can save the entire city and still go to home feeling like he lost. Most heroes beat the bad guys, save the day, and get their happy ending. Peter doesn't. Every time he puts on the mask, something in his own life falls apart. He misses birthdays, loses jobs, ruins relationships, and slowly watches Peter Parker disappear. That's when I realized Spider-Man isn't balancing two lives. He's trading one for the other, and maybe that's the real price of being Spider-Man. Why does he keep choosing this life? If being Spider-Man keeps ruining Peter's life, why doesn't he just stop? Seriously, most people would have quit after the first few disasters, but Peter never does. Every time he thinks he is done, someone needs help, a villain shows up, or somehow he's back in the suit. I don't even think it's because he wants to be Spider-Man anymore. I think he feels like he has to. Ever since Uncle Ben, Peter's been carrying the idea that if he has the power to save someone and doesn't, then whatever happens next is his fault. That's a brutal way to live. At some point, Spider-Man stops being a choice. It becomes a guilt, and a guilt is a hard thing to escape. Body horror. Is Peter becoming slowly less human? Now this is where things get a little weird. We always talk about getting bitten by the spider like it was the best thing ever happened to Peter. Super strength, climbing walls, web slinging sounds like a pretty good deal. But what if it wasn't? The more Peter relies on his powers, the less human he starts to feel. His body changes, his instincts take over, and sometimes he seems more like a spider than a person. That's the part nobody talks about. Does Spider-Man create his own villains? Now here's a question I never really thought about. How many of Spider-Man villains would have existed if Peter Parker had never been bitten? Think about it. Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, the Lizard, or Venom. In one way or another, Peter's life collide with theirs before they become the villain we know. Now I'm not saying Spider-Man created every bad guy in New York, but it's hard to ignore the pattern. Peter spends his whole life trying to save the city, yet somehow the people closest to him keep becoming the one he has to fight. Spider-Man can never grow up. Here's something that's always bothered me. No matter how many years go by, Peter never really gets to move on. Every time it feels like he's finally growing up, the story resets. He is back to struggling with money, trying to balance school or work, hiding his identity, and barely holding his life together. It's like Peter Parker is stuck in a loop. Not because he can't grow up, but because Spider-Man won't let him. Maybe that's why every version of Peter feels so familiar. Different actor, different universe, but somehow he's always fighting the exact same battle. Why Spider-Man is Marvel's most profitable hero? Maybe that's why Spider-Man is Marvel's biggest hero. Not because he's the strongest, but because he's the most human. His pain is what makes him relatable. If Peter finally got the perfect life, the story would be over. As strange as it sounds, Spider-Man's suffering is a part of what makes people love him. And maybe that's why Marvel never lets him have a happy ending. Nobody remembers Peter Parker. And then came the saddest part of Peter's story. He saves the entire world, and in return, everyone forgets who he is. MJ doesn't remember him, Ned doesn't remember him, the Avengers don't remember him. Imagine giving up everything to save the people you love only to become a complete stranger to them. That's what makes the ending so painful. Peter finally saves everyone, but he lost the one thing he'd been fighting for the whole time, his own life, the canon event. And then Spider-Verse introduced an idea that changed everything. According to the movie, every Spider-Man has a canon event, a moment of tragedy that's supposed to happen no matter the universe. Different Peter, different world, same loss. Suddenly Uncle Ben, Gwen, and May, it doesn't feel like a bad luck anymore. It feels inevitable. Maybe becoming Spider-Man doesn't just give you powers, maybe it comes with a tragedy that's impossible to escape. The cycle of Spider-Man. Think about every Spider-Man we have ever seen. Different actors, different universe, different stories, yet they all seem to end up living the same life. They lose someone they love, sacrifice their own happiness, and spend the rest of their lives trying to protect the people who may never truly understand what they were giving up. That's why I don't think it's just bad luck anymore. It feels like a cycle. Every time a new Spider-Man comes along, the story changes just enough to feel fresh, but somehow ending is always the same. And maybe that's the real curse. Not the spider bite, not the villains, not even the powers. The real curse is that no matter who wears the mask, every Spider-Man is destined to pay the same price. And that's why I think being Spider-Man is a curse. Not because of the powers, but because every version of Peter ends up paying the same price. But hey, that's just my theory. If you enjoyed this video, let me know who I should pick in the Curse of Being series. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.